You know, there's a lot of questions that I could ask myself when it comes to this movie. But probably the biggest one of them all, out of these two films, is who the fuck is Tamara? Hey guys, it's Kevin here in the Movie for Guys. I'm reviewing this a movie that I really did not know how it was going to turn out, but I figured that, I reviewed the first one, I might as well review the second one, and that, of course, is the sequel that just everybody was clamoring for. That, of course, being The Strangers Prey at Night. And similar to the first one, there's not really much of a plot here. It's just a family. They go to this trailer park, basically, where they are awaiting the arrival of their aunt and uncle. And this one stranger knocks at the door asking for, this same girl named Tamara, who still to this day, we don't know what the significance of that is. But, that's a whole other thing. Obviously, the family has no answer whatsoever, and basically, after this, these strangers just go around haphazardly going after the family for virtually no reason at all, and that's basically all there is to this. So, The Strangers Prey at Night, I had no interest in this movie whatsoever, especially even before I watched the first one. I didn't really have much interest in it. The first one happened, and that just felt like a nice one-and-done type movie. Aside from that really dumb sort of open ending that I thought was completely unnecessary for a movie like that, it was a very well-done, very raw, very unnerving home invasion thriller. It had some really good performances, kind of flat characters, but it genuinely was very terrifying. It felt very in the moment. It felt very intimate, and it's something that was so well done, it can't really be replicated. So I don't really understand why we had the second movie. It just seemed so unneeded, and it didn't seem like anyone really wanted it whatsoever, and it sucks, okay? This is a terrible movie. There really is not many good things about this movie. However, this is one of those cases where this movie is so bad and so ridiculous that I couldn't help but enjoy it. The Strangers Prey at Night for me is the definition of a guilty pleasure. We're going to get into that, why that is, starting off with the cast. Now, throughout this whole review, it's a little bit difficult for me to review this film, but again, we're going to take the whole guilty pleasure part out of it and review this film objectively. Then I'll get into why I found this film so entertaining. So first, we have to talk about the acting here, because the first movie, we only had two actors, and both of which were really solid. Liv Tyler especially, I thought was great in that movie. Scott Speedman was pretty good. Here, this family, it's a bit of a mixed bag. There really is no standout. I will tell you that right now. There is no standout in this movie whatsoever. It is not like the first one where Liv Tyler, I thought, gave a great performance. Really, everyone here to me just seems like they're kind of going through the motions. I mean, Bailee Madison does put the most effort, I think, into this whole thing. And that's mainly because she's like the main character of this movie. But there's really not much to say when it comes to the acting. I mean, they're good. Christina Hendricks is in here. I don't know how they got someone like her, honestly, for something like this. I mean, she's one of those actresses that is so talented on TV, yet she just can't find a decent movie role, and she continues to subject herself to movies like this. And like I said, she's fine. Lewis Pullman was a bit shaky for me. I thought that at first he was really kind of worrisome, but he actually did get better as the movie went on. Martin Henderson, I thought, was hilariously terrible. He had any scene that involves him screaming is hilarious. So yeah, not really much to say about the acting here overall. But what you guys definitely want me to talk about is the directing and the writing, because here's where we get to the great stuff. Because the directing in this movie has to be some of the weirdest directing for a horror film I have seen in quite some time. The first movie wasn't really a horror movie. It was more of a home invasion thriller. It was this, kind of realistic sort of feel to it, where they felt trapped, and it felt like they didn't really have, they were kind of just thinking on their feet, and maybe they didn't make the most intelligent decisions. And that's really all it was. It was trying to be this very, like I said, just menacing, very creepy sort of, home invasion thriller. This movie, fuck that. This movie is a straight up slasher, and it is making no apologies whatsoever. However, the thing about this movie that I think is going to bother some, again, it didn't really bother me because I found this movie to just be a really dumb, fun movie. The thing I think that is going to bother a lot of people, though, is that this movie doesn't really know what it wants to be. Does it want to be this movie that's just really dumb and knows it is and has fun with itself? Or does it want to be a film that has a lot of character moments? Because those character moments we'll get to in a little bit, but it seems like it's trying to be two different things, and when it's trying to be a ridiculous horror movie, it's one of the most entertaining things you'll see all year. However, when it's trying to have these character moments, it ultimately just does not work, and that's mainly because of the writing. The writing here is pretty terrible, honestly. And here's the thing that's so weird about this movie, and something that I'm grappling with why they decided to do this. They spend so much time in the first, like, 20 minutes, 20 or 30 minutes, developing this family, yet there's, like, no character to any of them. What do we find about Christina Hendricks? Well, she has an uncle, and, you know, she has, like, she has a brother that they're going to see, and, I don't know, that's really it. I mean, the only character that actually has some sort of element is Bailee Madison, but even that is so thin. She's just a teenager that's angsty, and she's acting out in school, and for some reason, they're going to see their aunt and uncle because of it. That's it. That's all we really get in regards to her character. There's nothing else with any of these characters at all, and the movie doesn't care, honestly. I personally didn't care either because of the rest of the stuff that we have here. But in terms of character, there's nothing. So I don't know why the movie spends so much time developing these characters when there really is nothing to them. I mean, they spend a good solid 30 or so minutes until we get our first kill, and yeah, that's really, you know, it's ridiculous. I don't know why they went in that direction. What I've really got to talk about, though, is just the writing in general when it comes to the kills in this movie. Because the first movie, it felt grounded in reality. Sure, it was a bit underwritten in terms of character, and the strangers didn't really have a motive, but it did feel like it was grounded in reality. It felt like that was something where if someone got hurt, they, you know, realistically bled out, or something happened to them. This movie, again, foregoes all of that completely. I mean, there is no realism in this movie whatsoever. I'm going to reiterate something that other people have said, but the strangers in these movies, they're like supervillains. They really are. I mean, they go through so much in this movie, and I'm talking like they get knocked to the head with like a baseball bat, all the way to being lit on fire, yet they seemingly survive all of these encounters. Every single thing that happens to them, they pretty much survive, and I don't understand it. I don't understand how this happens. I don't understand how they're just okay, but honestly, it's hilarious. It's hilarious seeing them thinking they're dead, and then they're still somehow getting out of it, and it's hilarious to watch. I really, had a great time just seeing the ridiculous choices that were made when it came to, you know, what actually got the strangers and what didn't, because to me it just seemed like they were completely indestructible and that they always seemed to have the upper hand. But they also added this really weird sort of motif, which I'll talk about in the score. But the other big thing about this movie is that the characters are complete idiots. I mean, once these intruders start going after them, they make some of the dumbest decisions possible. You know, they have like a phone, they have a car, they have a gun, and they misuse like all of them. There's no logical thinking whatsoever. They make some of the dumbest decisions I have seen in recent memory, and it didn't really frustrate me because it was just hilarious. It was hilarious seeing the decisions that they were making and the way that it's handled. It's absolutely hilarious. I mean, there is this one pool scene where Louis Pullman's character makes one of the dumbest decisions I've seen in a while, and I honestly was laughing my ass off. It was absolutely hilarious to watch, and I really love what they did with that. What I really got to talk about, though, is the cinematography here, because the cinematography, holy shit, is it bad. I mean, it's so darkly lit to the point where you can't even see what's going on at points, but that makes it that much funnier. But also, the CGI is absolutely hilarious. Whenever one of them dies, it's like this really bad, CGI where you can obviously tell it's a special effect. They're definitely not dead at all. The best way to sum it up is look at the, like, octopus at the end of Jigsaw. That's, like, what most of these deaths are like. It's that bad, and it's honestly really funny to watch. But perhaps the most entertaining element of this entire film, the thing that elevated it from just a really bad movie to guilty pleasure status, is the score, which, without getting into anything, aside from the fact that this movie takes place in, modern times and they're using modern technology, the whole thing feels like a really cheaply made B movie that came out in like the 1980s. And I mean, in every way, like complete with like a really cheesy like synth score, all these ridiculous pop songs, and best of all, like I said, they added this really weird motif with the strangers. Like in the first movie, they used the record player to like drown out the sounds, so it would like distract them and they wouldn't know when they were coming up. Here, they go full on with that idea and they run with it in a completely different regard. For some reason, this movie, every time someone gets killed, they play this like soft rock song, and I'm not even joking. They play like these soft rock 80s songs, and it has to be some of the most misplaced music choices I've seen in a long time, but it makes it that much more hilarious. When you're seeing someone get stabbed, or seeing someone get shot, or, be lit on fire, or, drowning in a pool, and when you see this stuff happen, it's quite a sight to behold. It really is, and it's gotta be some of the funniest kill scenes I have seen in a very long time, and that's also something I should mention. Because it is a family, there is a lot more killing going on within this movie, and I thought, honestly, all the kills were absolutely hilarious. I thought they were some of the funniest stuff I've seen in a while, and for me, they really did add to my overall enjoyment when it came to this movie. The editing, this is a film that goes by so fast. It really does not feel long at all, and like I said, I was having a blast with it. But again, guys, keep in mind, the movie's not good. Just because the fact that I enjoyed it, I didn't enjoy it in the sense where, oh, this movie surprised me. No, it's as bad as I expect it to be, but it's a perfect movie where if you have like a bunch of friends and you guys got like nothing to do and you want to watch a really dumb movie with some really dumb underwritten characters, some really outlandish misplaced music, and some ridiculous kills, pop in The Strangers Prey at Night. I mean, this is gonna be like the movie to watch with all your friends. I'm definitely going to be doing that for sure. I already talked to some of my friends about it, and we're definitely gonna get together and watch this movie at some point, because that's exactly what this is. This should have been a movie that was on Netflix. It's the perfect movie for that, and I think that's exactly where it belongs. I can't believe this is actually a theatrical movie, to be honest with you. It's so ridiculous, but I honestly did have a blast with it. Now, objectively, this movie would get a D+, but because I did enjoy it as much as I did, it is a C. It has now become one of my favorite guilty pleasures in a while. I can't wait to rewatch this movie again. It's stupid, it's ridiculous, but damn, I have a great time enjoying it, and hopefully you guys do as well. And again, guys, I can totally understand if someone just looks at this as a really bad horror film, because yes, if you can easily use this film to pick apart all the dumb cliches that go on in a horror movie, because trust me, they're all here. But for me, just the way it was handled was just so outlandish and out there and just so ridiculous that I couldn't help but, just burst out into laughter and really just love what I was watching. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie. All you have seen, left your thoughts, and I doubt most of you have seen this movie. There was like no one in my theater at all. But that's in my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in my next video, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.